If you've ever been hurt, if you've ever had a place where you've been in a leadership position and your leader, the person you were following, hurt you, it damaged your influence. It damaged their influence over you, right? So we're going to talk today on the Everyday Leader Live. We're going to talk about how do you restore influence? How do you gain influence? How do you build influence inside people's lives? Because as a leader, and you're a leader worth following, as a leader, we've got to build influence. So, I mean, the first question that we ask all the time is, what is influence, right? What is influence? And if you could just hit that up in the chat, what do you think influence is? And let's really go to that place, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you're thinking and what your thoughts are on what influence is. Because I know one thing. I know one thing and one thing only, is that if you don't have it, there is going to be really, really a lot of trouble with you leading. Right? There's going to be a lot of trouble with you getting to a place where you're able to get people off of their agendas and onto a common agenda. And I want you to lead. And this is going to be leadership in your home. This is going to be leadership in your church. This is going to be leadership in your business. You want to lead, but you can't lead without influence. And if you don't have influence, then you're not going to lead. So what do you think influence really is? And as we come on, I'm going to say hello to my brother, Sean. Good to see you, my friend. Just make sure you hit up in the chats. What do you think influence is? I'm going to give you a second to answer that. And as we do, as you guys get a second to answer that, I'm going to tell you, welcome, 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 welcome. All of my friends here on YouTube, all my friends over there on Facebook who is watching the live. My name is Jim Burgoon. I am with the Everyday Leader Live. So grateful that we do this every single week at 5 p.m. on Fridays at 5. It is one of my favorite times of the week to hang out with you guys, to share leadership, to share life-changing things that if you apply any bit of this, then your life is going to change and your leadership ability will increase. And I want you to know, we do answer questions live. So if you have questions, I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to hear from you what you think, what you feel, and I want to hear the questions you have, and I'm going to answer them live. If I don't answer them live, I will get back to them. Make sure of that, because I love you guys and I love our time together. So again, the question was earlier, what is influence? And I'm going to say hello real quick to people. We've got hello, Natalie. Good to see you. Kai, my brother, another leader channel. He says, good evening. He's across the pond. Trust is indeed so important. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So the question is, what is influence? See, John Maxwell once said that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, but we never really define influence, right? So what we really want to do is we want to define the very things that we use these terms, right? So I'm going to tell you, influence is simply this. Influence is simply this, that we help people move from their agenda to a common agenda, which we call a vision, right? Which we call a mission. We get people on the same agendas to move forward. Now, you can't do that without trust. And I'm going to say hello. Got to take a time out. Pause, break. That's my honey. Mary's in the house. Much love. Hey, listen, guys. All you leaders out there, all you husbands, you always acknowledge the queen, because the queen, if she's happy, everybody else is happy. See, she says influence is people allowing you to speak into their lives because they trust you. Oh, my goodness. I love it. And then my brother, Mike here, actually from across the pond, is also saying, when I say that, he's, over there, not in America. I don't know exactly where, but it's across the pond. And actually, Mike, if you want to put in the comment where you're actually from, I'm actually curious. I don't think I've ever asked you that. Trust to be trusted. Yeah, absolutely. Trust to be trusted. Very much so. Now, we have to understand that leadership is influence, and influence is trust. And without trust, we do not have the right to lead, right? Sean over here says, he says, your example can be an influence. Absolutely. But your example is also based in trust, right? It's also based in trust. So you and I have to understand that wherever you're leading, whether it is be in your side of your house, whether it be at your church, your business, your corporation, whatever you're leading, if you don't have trust, you don't have the right to lead. That's what it really comes down to. And you and I must build trust. And I'm going to say leadership, Mike, I'm going to go back around here. And I said across the pond, but he's actually from Canada. He's up north. Glad to have our near neighbors with us. So let's begin. Guys, we're going to start here. We're talking about building influence, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk, and I'm going to give you some tips, some tricks, and some things on how to build influence. And always remember, as you guys, I have the chat up. So as you guys begin to put stuff in the chat, there is a little bit of a delay, but you'll see your name and your comments up on the screen. Let's have these conversations. So we're going to build influence. So here's the thing. Influence moves people from where they are to where they need to be. Influence moves people from where they are to where they need to be. And if you are going to be a leader worth following, and I know you are because you're watching this channel and you want to be a leader, you want to develop yourself as a leader, then one of the primary things is to get people to a place where we not only build trust, but we build enough trust to speak into people's lives and pull them across into where they need to be so that we can go to where they want to go ultimately, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump in this today. We're going to jump right in this today. And I want you guys to hang on for the ride because I'm going to give you 5 strategies on how to quickly grow trust or grow your influence with people. Now, friends, let me tell you this. Let's pull this off real quick. Friends, I'm going to tell you these principles, the principles of leadership work in any aspect of life, right? You could be a husband. And if you do the things I'm going to teach you, your marriage will go exponentially. Wow, right? You'll go from good to great. Some of you guys will go from great to amazing. If you put this in your business, you will find that your team will follow you stronger, right? Or follow you anywhere. If you put this in your church, all my ministry leaders here, if you start doing these things in your church, you will have influence and the right to speak into people's lives. Without the right to speak into people's lives, you cannot lead them. So let's do these things and let's jump in. Oh my goodness. So, and if you, as you can see, I'm getting better with all the clicks. The first thing, my friends, the first thing that you really want to jump into, the first thing that's going to get people to trust you, that's going to build influence into people's lives is you help people win. And you help them not just win, but you help people win a lot, right? Because helping people win increases their trust in you. You know, it's not just, oops, I kind of went in too far and gave you the next one, but you didn't see that. You didn't see anything, right? But that's what the thing is, guys. You help people win. Well, maybe you're like, Jim, what does that look like? What does helping people win look like? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, but here is what that looks like. Is like whatever you're in, whatever context you're in, you've got to find you have to define your win. Like, what does a win look like in your place? Maybe you're a husband and your win is that you are home 3 nights a week, right? Or that your wife has a break. Because I know there's a lot of wives out there who are amazing mothers and they need breaks, right? Maybe the win is the wife needs a break, or maybe they want to be the entrepreneur and you get to be the stay-at-home dad, right? Whatever that looks like. Maybe you're in let me say this, and let me go with that one first, and then we'll go from there. Maybe with that thing, a win could be simply defined as, hey, let me come home and take over for you, talking to the husband and the wife, and you go out with your friends. That's a win. She's going to be much more apt to trust you, to trust your cooperation, to trust that this is a team effort, right? Maybe you're in a corporation. So let's talk to the business people. Let's talk to all business people. I'm a fellow entrepreneur out there. How do you help people win? You get out there and you find out where they want to win. And then you find out if you either have the skills to help them get to what they want, or you have the connections that put them in the right place to get what they want. Because the whole idea is you help people win, guys. This is what it really comes down to. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about building trust. And when we build that trust, it's about helping people win. It's about getting W's on the board. Now, is there going to be failures? Yes. Is there going to be people you can't help? Absolutely. But you and I, when we're building influence, when we're building trust, when we're trying to win with people, we've got to help them win. And if you're a business owner, like I said, find out what they need wins in. And most of them are going to be like, yo, if you share my stuff, that's a win, right? So you help people win. And if more people show up to the live stream, this is a win for me. If more people show up for a live stream, that's more development that happens. My business grows. The people get to put these things into practice in their lives. They grow, so it's a win all around, right? So if you keep finding ways to see a need, fill a need. Remember that show Robots with Big Well and all that stuff? And for all you cartoon freaks, I'm a cartoon guy. So it's like find a need, fill a need. Find somebody who's looking to win, help them win. And when they win, guess what? There is an increased ability to trust you because now you help them come over a hurdle that they've been trying to overcome, that they couldn't overcome. And now that they did, they're going to trust you more in order to lead. And then they're going to trust you that the next thing you say, like, this is what we need to go, they're going to be more apt to go, hey, let's go ahead and do that because you've already done this in my life. And I've seen a lot of wins and I've seen a lot of momentum. And I've seen these things. And if I've got these things, and I know that you're consistently helping me win, then I will follow you anywhere. And if you really go into these things, guys, if you go back to your own life, think about the leaders that were most influential in your life, whether it be a mentor, a pastor, or whatever. What did they do? What were the things that they did? I'm going to tell you it was probably that they helped you win and win often. All right. So that's the number one key is win and win often. Right. So let's go into number two. Let's hit up the number two key here. And the number two key is serve people. Now, this is underrated, right? This is where you get to say, never underestimate the power of serving. Never underestimate the power of serving. Why? Because you can serve and somebody becomes so enamored and grateful for you that the trust it builds really quickly. And especially, let me tell you this, especially if you don't have a personal agenda when you serve. People can tell when you have a personal agenda. So if you want to help people move beyond where they're at into where they need to be, whether it be through you and hiring you or going to your church or whatever that is, then you need to serve them. You need to find creative ways on how to serve them, when to serve them, why are you serving them? Because I'm going to tell you, people are not stupid. People are not dumb, guys. People know when you have a personal agenda. Like if your whole option is I'm going to serve them so that they can buy from me, then you're missing the point. You don't build trust when you're just trying to leverage or manipulate into purchasing your stuff, right? You serve people in an honest, open way. You serve people in a place where you're like, hey man, I'm just here to help you. Yeah, I have programs, I have things, but this is the part that I don't charge for. And if this can get you a win, then let me help you get a win, right? That was the first one. I'm going to serve you in this area. But if you want to go deeper, you want more of my time, if you want to take these live sessions and actually have customization, like knowledge is free, but customization is charged, right? And you want customization in your life, then guess what? Then I do have programs where you can hire me as a coach and I will help you customize these things and revolutionize your life. But you can Google anything, right? And so if I can help you by giving you the information quicker, that's why I do my lives every week to serve you. I have no other agenda other than my whole heart is to serve people. My whole heart is to make you a better leader. My whole heart is to bring you closer to God. My whole heart is to get you out of your comfort zone and to get into your destiny and your design so that you can influence and impact the most amount of people, right? That's why I do my lives every week. And I get so excited when you show up with me. I get so excited that we have this together. And I can't wait to see as this grows and more people are getting fed and getting built as a leader, right? But here's the thing. Again, I do this with no ulterior motive. This is how I serve in my capacity. I am a communicator, so I serve in this capacity. So if I'm going to be somebody who is going to build trust, then I'm going to consistently come in and serve people. How do I serve people? I give them leadership information to apply to their life so that they can transform their life and become the best leader that they can be, whatever capacity that they're in. And that's really where I serve the best, right? Because I am at first and most a communicator. That may not be you. So you've got to figure out where you serve. My brother Sean on here, his wife, right, is the most amazing cook servant that I've ever met. And what she does is I'm going to turn this camera off real quick. What she does is she gets in there and she'll bake meals for people and she'll bring them over to them. Man, that is amazing when you think about it. It is an incredible service. She doesn't ask for anything in return. Could you imagine your business if you came and just with an open heart and an open agenda and just wanted to serve people? Could you imagine what that looked like in your business and how much your business could grow if you're just sitting here and saying, hey, I just want to help you become better, right? And I'll give you information. But customization, we can go down that line. And this is what we do. This is what happens when we talk about serving the individual. When we talk about building trust, we serve people. When we serve people, we get into a place where they build trust. When you have trust, when you grow in trust, now you're winning what we call pocket change that you can spend anywhere, right? And when you spend the pocket change, people will be able to say, hey, maybe what they say is actually worth me doing. Maybe what their program is actually worth what they're doing, right? Because they're serving me. They're serving you, right? So we get into this mindset of let's serve one another at the highest possible level so that we can build influence and trust and be the leader that you were meant to be. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, the first one, again, help people win. Guys, is there any more satisfying, any more significance than help people win? And if the second one is you serve people. And if you're helping people win and if you're serving people, my gosh, you're going to be one of the most influential leaders on the planet. But guess what? We've got more to cover. We've got more to cover than I'm going to say. And as I always tell you, one thing applied is better than 40 things known or 4,000 things known. Because if you can apply one thing, if you can apply anything, right? Your whole life will change. Your level leadership will go up. Your business will increase. Your marriage will increase. All those things will increase when you apply one truth to your life and not just sit on a whole bunch of notes. We don't want smart people who do nothing with their lives and have no impact. We want people who may not be as smart as you or the most smartest person in the room, but knows something. Because when somebody knows something, they change something. And we want transformational leaders, guys. We want transformational leaders, not just leaders who are willing to just tell you what to do. We want people whose lives emulate what they've done so that they can transform the people they're leading. And that's where we start building trust. That's where we start building influence, guys. And let me say this, guys, as we go in there, I want to say that, hey, if you have any questions, let's hit this up. If you're watching me there on Facebook, come on over here to YouTube, hit up with us in the questions, or you can answer there on Facebook as well. We do this every Friday. Listen, I'm Jim. I'm glad to meet you. Grateful that you're here with me. We do this every single Friday. And what this is leadership development, and this is leaders like you. The everyday leader. You may never show up to a corporate place with a tie. You may be leading at your church. You may be leading at your house, or you may be a small business owner, entrepreneur who's leading. This is for the everyday leader. The ones who are not in the corporate structure, maybe, those guys who are CEOs and above. This is for you because I want you to be a leader worth following. Again, we do this every single Friday, and and not only do we do the live videos every Friday, we do a weekly video each week where I do take some of the things out of the lives. I do take some of your questions, and I just create content that's going to serve you better. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit up the subscribe and do me a favor. Hit the like button on the live, so that way the algorithm picks it up and more people can see what we're doing over here. So let's get into number 3. And before I get into number 3, I want to do a shout out to a friend of mine, Nikki. So grateful to see you. She is an inspiration to me. A writer, a coach, leadership girl, who has definitely over the years we've got to know each other, who has struggled in seeing. Right. But she's accomplished so much stuff in spite of all of that. And she's an inspiration. So if you don't know her, connect to her. And then here's my wife. We got to go back in here. Unless my wife just said, that's Mary for all you guys. No, she's taken. She's mine. That's a good one. One thing applied is better than 40 things known. Knowing something doesn't change your life. Absolutely, honey. Grateful that you're here and you're posting in there for me. All right. Let's do that. Yo, let's shout out to Ace here. Yo, leaders. Yeah, we okay, bud? You just came in on number 3. We're going to hit up the number 3 thing on how to build trust. Number 1 was help people win. Number 2 was serve people. And now I'm going to hit up the last one, not the last one, but the third to last one. Number 3 of this is be generous. We're going to talk about being generous. And maybe you're sitting there and be like, yo, what does generosity have to do with anything, right? I don't know about being generous. Listen, generosity softens the heart and builds the trust. Generosity softens hearts and builds trust. You could be generous. Everybody thinks that generosity is like all about money. It is not all about money, although it has to do some, but it does time, treasure, and talents, right? Time, treasure, and talents. You have talents you can be generous with. You have treasure, which is your money. Talents, which is your skill. Treasure, which is your money. And you have time, talent, and treasure. Time, which is the most best commodity that you have. It's the most, resource. It's the best resource you have, because guess what? Your time is worth more than your money, because you can't get your time back, but you can get more money. So let's just say it like that. So when I'm generous with my time, when I jump on a free call with you, like I offer a free 15-minute next steps call, it's because, hey, I want you to be able to grow. So I'm generous with my time, right? If I serve at church, I'm generous with my time, because I can never get that back. So when I never get that back, I'm giving that to you as a gift. And guess what? When I give that as a gift, then it softens the heart and be like, wow, look at what he's giving. I'm going to soften my heart and learn to trust more. And you know what the problem is? There's so many people out there who have trust issues because you've been hurt by one person. I want lean in here for a second, me and you. Let's have this conversation, because I wish I had a soapbox. I would just put soapbox right here, and I'm going to step up on the soapbox. Look, we just imaginarily just jumped up on the soapbox, because here's the thing. You have been hurt by somebody in your life, and it was probably 10 years ago, maybe 20 for some of you guys. Here's the deal. You let that one person hurt you, and they may have hurt you real bad, that it's ruined your ability to trust every other person in your life. And because it's ruined the ability to trust every other person in your life, you struggle in your life with trusting you. There are people who don't trust their spouses. There are people who don't trust their pastors. There are people who don't trust the customers who are buying from them, right? There's problems there. And because there's problems there, we have this like breaking down of trust. And when you have a breaking down of trust, you cannot be an influence. You cannot lead people where you have not been. And if you have not been to a place where you found healing and you've isolated, listen, you had a jerk 10, 15, 20 years ago hurt you, and it was an isolated incident because he's a jerk. She's a jerk, right? And I'm not going to make everybody else in my life pay for that single person. And if I'm going to be a leader who leads at high levels, I've got to let go of what's happened. I got to offer forgiveness. Hey, listen, I forgive you. That's great. I don't need you in my life anymore, but boom, gone, right? But here's the thing, guys. And if you're holding on to this pain, if you're holding on to this hurt for like the last 20 years, and you're like, I refuse to trust anyone because Johnny 15 years ago said something mean to me, you are shortchanging your ability to lead. You are shortchanging your ability to influence people. So it's time to break free of that. It's time to cut off the chains and get out of that, because if you're going to be generous, if you're going to lead people at higher levels, if you're going to apply any of this, then you have got to learn to trust people too. I don't say trust everybody. I'm not saying trust everybody, but I am saying trust somebody. And it all starts with one person. And if you can start to trust the one person, it'll bleed over to start trusting more people. And here's the key. Are people going to hurt you? Absolutely. But there's a difference between somebody hurting me and somebody derailing me, right? I am not going to let a single soul in this anywhere derail me from my mission. They're not going to derail me from my vision. They may hurt my feelings, but they're not going to stop me from moving forward, right? But a lot of you leaders have been in this place where somebody has done something to you in your life that has been so challenging, right? So hurtful that it has allowed you to derail you. You have allowed it to derail you, and you have put your mission on the shelf, and you have said, I'm not moving forward because I have an inability to trust. Guys, it is time to start trusting again. It is time to get off of the I'm broken victim fence. Like, just jump off that fence and be like, I'm going to learn to trust somebody so that I can lead other people to the same place of healing. It is time. Because if you're going to be this third one here, if you're going to be somebody who's going to be generous, you have got to come with no agenda. And if you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust others, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle with this generosity piece, because I can't give you my time, talent, or treasure, right, if you're not going to trust me. I can't give it away if I don't trust you, Because then the whole time while I'm sitting here trying to help you, or you're trying to get help from me, you're going to wonder if there's another agenda, right? And guys, you and I have got to table the agendas and be generous, serve, and help people win. So here's the part where I say, whoop, I'm going to put my soapbox over, and I'll come back to the soapbox. I'm going to actually have a little thing. I'm going to create something that says, it's soapbox time. We're going to have like a little banner or something that says, let's join the soapbox. But you really do. And I love what some of my friends here were saying. Daryl comes in and says, trust is a decision. It absolutely is a decision. Ace from Productivity Ace over here says, got to delete the negativity from your mental hard drive disk and free up space for new stuff. Yes, my brother. I love how you said that. That is a beautiful thing. And I totally agree with the next statement. Hard to do, but needs to be done. Some of you guys need to clean out and do a spring cleaning of your emotions. Let's just call it what it is. You need to do a spring cleaning of your emotions because it's been building up for so long. And guess what? What you put in the heart comes out in your life. So guard your heart with all diligence, guys, because out of it flows the issues of life. And if you have issues in your life and continued issues, you have to check your heart, because what's in your life is what you've allowed. And if you're struggling with trust, if you're struggling with people trusting you and you trusting people and all this push and pull stuff, it's because you've allowed it in your life. And you've not guarded your heart, because out of your heart is where everything in your life comes. So it's time to start guarding your heart with all diligence, but it's also time to start getting rid of the stuff that's there, the bad stuff. We want to keep the good stuff, like all the puppies and unicorns and ice cream and all that. You keep all that stuff. But, and the nice things people say about you, keep that too. But you get rid of all the negative. You get rid of all the nonsense. You get rid of all the stuff that just doesn't serve you. If it doesn't serve you, then get rid of it. And if you're going to be a leader worth following, if you're going to do this thing where you're building influence and you're building those things, then you're going to learn to be generous. And to be generous, you've got to learn to trust people again. Trust people again, right? And again, it softens hearts. So maybe in you being generous, it softens your heart. Maybe in you being generous with your time, talent, and treasures, that you become a person who not only is able to be trusted, but is able to trust again. And in that place, you can actually walk into true generosity, which true generosity leads into true gratitude, right? Not this makeshift fake stuff that we do, but this true generosity moves into true gratitude without agendas, without like, I'm going to give because I expect to get. No, I give not expecting anything from you. If you decide to hire me as a coach, if you decide to hire me of any other place, then I'm grateful for what you decided based on interactions, not because I've leveraged everything to make you think that I want something more. I want you to be the best version of yourself. I know that's so colloquial, but guess what? I do. I want you to be how God designed you. I want you to be who God designed you. I want you to get out there and make a difference. Guys, how many of you guys, tell me in the chat, how many guys want to feel significant with your life, right? How many of you guys want to be significant, want to feel significant? This is the place you do it. This is the place you do it, guys. Learning to trust, learning to build trust is where you start finding significance. So before we go to number 4, actually, we're rolling down. We've done the top 3. We're going to do number 4 in a second. Sean says this: true giving is when you give and expect nothing in return. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, this is where the place where also significance you find it as well. And I'm going to tell, and here's the other thing. When I look at people and I sit there and say, and I have a lot of friends, right? Like I'm super, like I got like tons of friends, or at least I know a lot of people. I don't, whatever. But here's the deal. Many of the people that I know are all like 6, 7 figures, and some of them are 8 figures earners, right? And in that realm, some of those guys are making much more money because they're mad generous. When you don't have a lot of money, it's harder to be generous because you're like, well, I don't have. But the guys on the other side where they're making the money that you want to make will all tell you that because the money they're making is because they were generous. So learn how to be generous in your context, right? It doesn't mean empty your bank. It doesn't mean give everything away, right? You do have to make money. You do have to make a living. It doesn't keep the lights on. But also understand that there are times where you could sit there and say, hey, I'm going to jump on a 15-minute call, which if you follow the links that I'll put in the chats, you jump on the thing, I give 15-minute calls away for free. There's no high pressure sales. It's just me having a conversation, how I can help you. And then if I can help you, great. We'll talk about my coaching programs. If I can't help you, great. I'll help you find somebody who can. That's what that's about, right? And I do that because I want to give time. I want to be generous. I want to live in generosity. And in a context that I'm in, this is how I'm starting to show up. And this is, you got to find in your life the context you want to show up, right? Ace says this. I said productivity. Ace says, if you can build that team culture where everyone truly trusts each other, then it's amazing. Yeah, man, absolutely. Here's the thing. Is in the 5 dysfunctions of a team, Pat Leccioni, he says the number 1 dysfunction of every team is trust. If you have no trust, you have nothing else. There's no productivity. There's no, effectiveness. There's no anything. It's just trust is the number 1 thing that you build in any team. And I'm also going to tell you, that includes families, guys. You and your wife are a family. You and your wife are team. Me and my wife here. See, my wife says me over there. She wants me as she wants to feel significant, right? But so me and my wife are team. We're team B, we're team Burgoon, right? That's who we are. You guys with your spouse and your kids, that's your team. If you are in church, that's your team, right? If you're single, you can find friendships, that's your team. And a team is only as good as the level of trust that they have. And influence is built in that place of trust. If I trust you, you have influence. The more I trust you, the more influence you have over me. So the object is get on the same team and build trust and get over the stuff that's holding you back, which brings us into the next one. Listen, this is all flowing really well because I'm going to tell you what, look at this. Be authentic and trustworthy. Be a person who people can trust. Listen, I know that sounds really kind of like crazy, but there's so many people out there that have crappy character. And if you want people to trust you, then be somebody they can trust, right? I don't want you to be somebody who has crappy character and like, oh, you can trust me. Listen, just because you say people can trust you doesn't mean they can trust you. But are you a person who is authentically and unapologetically you, right? And who is learning to be the best you, which means wherever you are, moving into a place of development, developing yourself to a place where you're going to be like, yo, I can be a great leader. I can people well. Now, that's my term. I say, when you're dealing with people, that's called peopling, right? I don't know if it wasn't mine originally, but you people well, right? You learn to navigate the relationships, right? You learn to be a person of character. Listen, character is who you are in the dark, not who you show the world, right? Now, we hope that who you show the world and who you are behind the scenes is the same person, because that's where integrity happens. So often we see people on Facebook and YouTube who are these people who are like, yo, look at me, I'm amazing and I'm awesome and you can trust me, right? And behind the scenes, they're like terrible human beings. We don't want people like that. We want people who are authentically showing up, scars and all, mistakes and all, and who are trustworthy and who are like, yo, I like that person because they're consistent. You build trustworthiness because you're consistent. People, I show up live at 5 every Friday, whether it's just me and my wife on this live show or me and 40 other people. Why? Because you can trust me, because I'm going to show up the same week, same time every week, right? Why do I do that? Because I'm building consistency. I'm building a place where you can look at me and say, he is a man of his word because he does what he says. And if you do what you say, people begin to trust you more. If you do what you say, you get into this place where you and the person that you're working with, and again, we spoke about how to build trust quickly, help people win, serve them, be generous, right? Now we're talking about authenticity and character. All of this goes together. But I'm going to tell you, of all of them, this here comes into a place where if you are not a person who is trustworthy, then why would people trust you? That's the problem, guys. If you are not somebody who is worth trusting, then why would we trust you? I don't care how good your program is. I don't care how good you think you're great at preaching and teaching and communicating, and you feel like you're the best at whatever you're at. I don't care. And neither does anybody else. What we care about is that if I exchange my time, my money, or whatever with you, that I'm going to trust that you are the person you say you are, and you're going to show up in the way that you say you're going to show up. That's what I care about. That's what I want, right? And that's what you want, my friends. If you really get down to it, you want the same thing. And it doesn't matter who it's from. It could be from from the president to all the way down to your next door neighbor. You want the same thing. Are you going to be consistent and show up the way you say you're going to show up and provide what you say you're going to provide? Because you must be a person who is authentically you. Like I'm never going to be you, and I'm never going to try to act like you, but you be authentically you and you show up as a person who people can trust because you are trustworthy. That's really what it comes down to, my friends. That's what all of this is. It's when you get back to a place of influencing people. So you go into your new job. You go into be a manager. You're in there being a leader. You're entrepreneur, starting a business, right? The first thing, and you've heard this throughout the interwebs, right? All the people say what? These three words: know, like, and trust, right? Know, like, and trust. I know you, I like you, I trust you, right? But there's a reason why they say that. Is because if you want to increase sales, if you want to increase influence, you want to increase trust, you want to increase relationship, people got to get to know the real you, not the mask that you show people. I should have a button that says, ooh, I'm going to do that. One of these days, I'm going to have buttons that help do sounds, ooh, and not the mask you show people, but who you really are. Because who you are is amazing. Who you are is wonderful. Who you show people, we all know. We all know that you're showing up as somebody you're not really. But here's the deal. If you show up authentically and you show up in a place where you're like, man, your character's consistent. I can trust you. I like hanging out with you. Then guess what? Then this is the place where people will learn to trust you. They'll know you because you're showing up authentically. They'll like you if you're a likable person, right? So work on being likable. Some of you guys, not you guys, but there's a lot of people out there who we know them. We just don't like them, right? Because they're just not nice people. But be likable. And then it comes down to trusting. And trusting is always at the precursor or at the end, right? So if people need to know you, like you in order to trust you, and you do that by being authentic and working on your character. Working on your character. So let's jump into number 5, which is where we're rolling down here, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, man, we're going to put you on the screen. And each week we answer your questions, your comments live. If we're live, if it's not live, we'll do a further live in the future. And I get a lot of my future lives off the comments and the interactions that I have with you guys, because I want to do things that speak to the itches that you have. I want to do things that speak to you. So we do this around there. So guess what, guys? Each and every time we go live, there is questions that I want to answer. So please make sure you hit them down in the comments and we'll get them. So let's hit this up for number 5, right? It is speak less, listen more. Speak less, listen more. The value, the input of others. That's what it comes down to. Value the input of others. Speak less, listen more. There is a reason why you have 2 ears and 2 eyes and 1 mouth. It's so that you can see and hear people more than you speak. And I'm going to tell you, in 20 years of people development and peopling, well, I've been 41 years of 40. How old am I? I'm 42. I'll be 43 this year. I've got 43 years of peopling because I love people. And when you really understand like the peopling aspect, you understand one concept. And here's the concept. People just want to be heard. Have you ever found that in your life, guys? Hit me up in the comments. Isn't that what you're asking? I just want people to hear me. Let me know in the comments. So here's the thing. You just want to be heard. So if you just want to be heard, don't you think the same thing is about other people? That they want to be heard? That their whole thing is why they communicate is they want somebody to look at them, to see them and say, I hear what you're saying. I catch what you're saying, right? Without ever having to overtalk. And I'm going to tell you, man, there are a lot of people whose conversations is, I'm going to lead you in the direction that I want you to go because I'm going to have you end up where I want you anyway, because I don't really want to talk to you. I just want you to understand what I'm trying to say. That's most people's conversations. And if that's most people's conversations, then guess what? We're doing it wrong, because my heart, my job, your job should never be to lead people to a conversation that they just don't want to have. They want to share their thoughts. They want to share their heart. They want to share their dreams, their hopes, and they want somebody to listen. So if you're going to be the leader and you want to get into that place where you're like, I'm going to listen to you. And I mean, really listen, not that fake listen where you're like, oh yeah. No, they want you to really sit there and say, okay, and ask questions, right? That's what you want. That's what they want. So if you're going to build trust and build it quickly, this by far is the number one thing that you must have in your life if you're going to grow that influence with people is speak less, listen more. Because what you're doing is you're valuing the input of others. And if you don't listen, if you don't hear them, you'll never understand what they're trying to tell you. You will never find that value because you're sitting there only caring about what you want and not what they want. And I'm going to tell you, most people don't care about your offer. They don't care about your business. They care about how it's going to serve them. How is it going to bring breakthrough? How is it going to bring them to a place where they're going to find the thing that they've always been looking for? And you could find that out if you would just talk less and listen more. All right. So before we roll down, I got one more for you. So if you're hanging out with me, love having you guys who's hanging out for the long haul with me. I got one more thing to share with you. But before we do that, I'm going to reset real quick. One of these things is I got to figure out how to get taller. Look at it. We're going to put this up. Look, I'm suddenly taller. Hi, you get to see my microphone now. Now I'm suddenly taller, right? So let's do this. So here's the thing. So we do this every week live, and it's Friday at 5. And I want you guys to just mark in your calendars, get out there and do the thing, because guess what? We do this, and every week it's about leadership development for the everyday leaders like you. And guys, I'm so grateful for you here. So let's jump into the bonus, because I always like to leave with a bonus. So your bonus simply is this, is show up for people. Show up for people. And the key here is this. Don't be a person who wants everyone to show up for you and never show up for anybody else. Don't be that person, right? Show up for people. Don't be the person who you want everybody else to show up for you and you don't show up for them. Because here's what I know. If you want to build influence, go to their stuff. Support people. If you want people to trust you, support them. Get on their lives. Get on their programs. Get on all of that stuff, right? Because here's the bottom line. If you're constantly asking for support and say, hey, but you don't go on and help them out, or you don't go on to support them or learn from them, then it's a one-sided relationships, and all one-sided relationships ultimately fail. If you're a one-sided relationship, you will fail. End of story. People don't want to be in one-sided. People don't want to be where I'm a taker, and I give nothing back. They do not want. That's why a lot of week when I tell you guys, hey, I do lives every week, or I post video every week, and a lot of the groups I'm in, they come on, they go to my stuff, they watch my videos, they join my lives, and guess what I do? I go back and do the same thing, right? Why? Because I love supporting people. I love being in their world. I love learning from people. And if you're going to be a leader worth following, if you want to build trust quickly, then you show up for people. Maybe it's a birthday party. Maybe it's a church service. Maybe it's whatever that thing. You can put whatever X in there. Like, you need to show up at this for this person. Whatever that is, you need to show up. I need to show up, because why? What does that do? It tells people that you care about them. And if you care about them, then you will always have a place of trust in their lives. So always be a person who adds value to others by giving, by sharing, by helping, by serving, all of those things. But always be a person who adds value, who shows up for people, and you will never be without influence in people's lives. Never. And if you're going to be a leader worth following, guys, then you, my friends, have to follow those things, because you've got to build influence. If leadership is influence, and influence is relationships, and relationships is trust, then ultimately your leadership ability is dependent upon how much people trust you. And the more people trust you, the more you'll be able to lead them where they need to be. And that's the end of the story, guys. So guys, as we do this, I want to tell you, thank you for coming out, hanging out with me. We do this every week, Friday live at 5. Look, I got it above my head. Friday live at 5. Every week we do leadership topics, and in leadership development for leaders like you. We do personality, we do mindset, we do all sorts of stuff. I do answer questions live. I do answer questions on subsequent videos as we go out. I do want to leave you one thing. Guess what? I do have a free gift for you. If you go to my link, my descriptions, you can see where you get a free link to my own 2021 as a champion. You ever want these things where you become a person who's going to complete goals? Do you ever have that thing where you're just like, hey, I created some crazy New Year's Eve resolutions and it never came to pass? Well, why? Because you don't have a structure, you don't have them really defined out. And you may have a vision board where you just did not do. It's collecting dust, and you'll look again at the end of the year and be like, man, I should have did that. Well, I created something for you, and that is a guide. It's free to you. And what that guide does is it simply does where you can get in, you can outline your goals, you can outline your habits and all those things, and even your income goal for the rest of 2021. And I want to give that to you for free. And if you go to this link, I'm going to put it up on the screen. If you go to this link, bit.ly, oh, yeah, 2021 champ. I thought about that for a second. You can get that for free if you don't already have it. I want you to be able to take that away. And you'll also be able to schedule a call with me. That call will be a 15-minute call to find out if I can help you in any single way. Because again, I want to be generous with my time and see if we're a right fit. Maybe you want to go deeper in leadership. Maybe you want to do personality stuff. Let's have a conversation, but no pressure on any of that. The biggest thing I want you to know is go get that that free guide, and it's all yours. And so, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Leadership Live, the Everyday Leader Live. Each and every Friday we do this. Remember to hit the subscribe button, the like button here over on YouTube. I had to think about that for a second. Over here on YouTube, if you guys are on Facebook, if you'll share videos out and just invite people to these. If you're here on YouTube, do me a favor, share the YouTube out to people, because I definitely want to pour value into people. And the more we get the word out, the more value I can pour into people, the more people get impacted, the more we can see lives changed. So guys, again, my name is Jim. So grateful to see you guys. And I'm going to call it a night. And we're going to say, see you here next week. And if you guys who are just kind of coming in, make sure you check out the replay, because there's so much good stuff here. And much love. Talk to you guys next week.